A lot of action around, not by Congress, by random people. Facebook getting a lot of attention as well on your end, correct?
Yeah. I got back in. I got out, Brian. Basically, we were lucky enough to have you out at our Vegas conference. And on the way out of Vegas, that's when that news broke, of course, about the Francis Hagan, the whistleblower, and the stock traded to the downside, and it was under some pressure. And we thought that would continue. So long story short, I cut half my position on that day in October, and then I just kept selling and eventually exited the stock in the 330 to 340 range. I finally got back in Monday this week, Brian. And the reason I got back in was, I don't know if it was Mr. Pelosi, but I certainly saw some pretty strong, unusual activity. And then yesterday, Wednesday, Kevin O'Leary called into the show, and he was buying as well. The activity at the 2:30 strike, Brian, was just intense. That's options that expire tomorrow, February 11th, at the 2:30 strike. They traded 33,000 of them, bang, just in one big print. By the end of the day, it had traded 110,000 just at that one strike, and then many more at higher strikes as well, 70,000. These are crazy numbers. So we always talk about volume, volatility, velocity. You got all of that. People finally saying that maybe enough damage had been done, and the institutions were feasting in there yesterday as the shares traded up, I think, $10 or more off the low of the day.
Wow. And again, by the way, appreciate going out to that conference. I'll see you down at TPC in Florida, by the way. Looking forward to that. I think March 12th or whatever, John. We'll get some sun together. But it's not just equities, right? This congressional stock trading thing is also options. I noted Facebook. James Langevin of Rhode Island has been active in options in Facebook. So members of Congress are also trading options. Maybe you guys and you and Pete need a new segment, unusual congressional options activity. You're welcome.
Well, they certainly, thank you. They certainly seem like they're active, and my bets are that they have done pretty well on the timing. It's not just Amazon, but a lot of those other timing for the entry and exit was probably pretty concise and precise, Brian.
Yeah. All right, so some really bullish options activity going on with Facebook / Meta, whatever you want to call them. John, is there a macro market view? What other just major options trends, if any, are you seeing around more the macro side?
Well, we've finally seen people, the volume of options on those VIX calls and puts for that matter has accelerated again. It's to the downside, though, to the downside in terms of lower volatility is what they're saying is coming. And you can kind of see why. I mean, the market seems to have found some footing. That 200-day moving average for the NASDAQ and so forth at about 365 for that QQQQ. That's one of those things that I think people have a little more comfort when we get back up to and through some of these resistance points. I think that means that volatility would likely ebb a little bit more in the short term.